Hello and welcome to Grind Slime TV with me, your host Aaron. And today we're talking Sweden again. Now, when it comes to Swedish death metal, there's always, a bunch of bands that are lumped in that you first think of, Entombed, Dismember, Carnage, Grave, that sort of stuff, which is fair enough, they're great bands. But I do feel that a lot of these bands outside of the HM2 worship Swedish buzzsaw kind of thing do get a little bit swept aside, and none more than Imperious and their album In Splendour. This is the only effort they put out. They were called Obscura in the late 90s to the early noughties, and then they changed their name for their full length. Probably didn't do them any favours, but is what it is, isn't it? They're not together anymore. They put this out in 2003. I've been a fan of this record for a long old time. I don't I don't think I bought it in 2003. Excuse me. But it gets regular spins in my house for years. Now, this doesn't sound like these other bands, but if you're into, outfits like Hate Eternal or Nile, you know, um, Christian, then this is kind of the same sort of thing you can get yourself into, like early Origin. So it's technical death metal, but not to the point where it's just fretboard wankery. Because I like some bands like that, but other times it's just like, all right, mate, you're good, we get it. Can we hear some music now? But this has got 11 tracks of just straight up death metal with some technical airs about it. I'm not talking like shredding riffs or anything, but there's a lot going on into the songwriting. So, like I say, got 11 tracks, ends on a instrumental called Lament, which is a really cool closer. Your lyrics are very anti-religion, very, not just the religion itself, but also the philosophy behind it. The lyrics are very poetic. You get them sort of throughout the booklet here, which is cool, and some nice artwork. It's not just black pages with some writing on. The whole sort of concept is very abstract, which is a good way of describing their music, I suppose, sort of abstract death metal. Not in a pretentious way, though. Like, this isn't, you're going to put this on and be like, what the fucking hell are we listening to? No, 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 no. This is very, very well written, very heavy, very relentless death metal. Now, there are standout tracks, of course, as there always are. Like the song God Lied is a very good one, or the song Impaled, which is the longest track on the album, at over 5 minutes. Most of the songs on here are usually between 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes, sort of thing. So it's over in just over half hour, which is perfect for this kind of music. And it's just really, really good. The flow is excellent. Like I said, the musicianship is fantastic. There's blast beats. If you like blast beats, these guys have got them. Don't you worry about that. Now, they were a three-piece when they put this together, but I do believe they toured for a while after this album dropped, and they've since gone on to other projects, most of which I think are defunct. But this was 22 years ago. So some people don't stay in the game that long, others do. Is what it is. Now, you can generally find this pretty cheap because it's one of those ones that, like, because when I bought it, it was one of those days, when you're a teenager, you've only got so much money, you go into the shop, you want to find an album, but there's nothing there that you either want or there's nothing you can afford. And this was one that I just sort of looked at the artwork as we did back then and was just like, it looks like it might be my sort of thing, but maybe it will be some sort of weird, shitty industrial stuff. And not at all industrial shit. I just tend to, start and finish with frontline assembly personally. But I thought this could go either way. But I think it was something like £6 or something like that. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just get it. Really, really glad I did. And I'm amazed that this isn't more picked up than it has been. It's very slept on. It's got a very dark atmosphere. It's heavy, good production, not to the point where it's super squeaky clean like you get with a lot of technical death metal bands. Now, this still has that very sort of down-tuned, very large kind of sound about it. You know, but it's not. It, it's not like it's. Don't think bands like Morbid Angel or Immolation where it's that very big sort of what the kids call a cavernous kind of sound. You know, this is very much in the sort of, like I mentioned with, like, imagine Hate Eternal down tuned, but not quite as aggressive because, you know, Hate Eternal could be the angriest band of all time. But these guys definitely get the job done. And this is on Spotify, it's on YouTube, really easy to find. And if, like I say, go on Discogs, you can probably pick this up for a few quid. This, which is good, but also a shame because it really is a great record. And, you know, I've introduced quite a few people to it. My mate Zach being one of them last year. I think I showed this to him and said, "Oh, have you ever heard these boys?" And he was, I said, "No, haven't heard them." And then I think I got a message from him like 15 minutes later saying, "Oh, I just bought it off eBay," as he's wanted to. And I'm not much better. But yes, Imperious in Splendour. Great Swedish death metal that slept on and definitely needs more ears and eyes. And who knows, maybe this will pick them back up and they'll do the ever so cash grabbing reform and they'll do something else, which would be cool, but it would probably be shit. But for a single disc band, whew, this is definitely one of the greats. So thank you for your attention today. And as always, I'll see you tomorrow. Keep it extreme, keep it underground, all that lot, and have a good weekend.